Miss Geist, please state your name for the record.
Cindy Geist.
Can you just give us a brief educational and professional background?
Okay, I am an LPC. I was licensed in July of 2020 before as a counselor. I graduated from Fort Hays State University. I have counseled since that time, since 2020. And do you want to know what I did before that?
Sure.
I was a high school English teacher
Okay.
For quite a few years.
So you have experience working with youth and teens?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the two children involved in this case, the two Bush children?
Grace and Gemma, yes.
And when did you first start working with them?
6/10 of 2024 was when I first saw both of them.
And about how frequently did you see them?
After that, I saw them on alternating weeks for 5 meetings apiece.
Okay. And how was your relationship with them?
I thought it was a good therapeutic relationship.
Do you feel like you established a rapport with the girls?
Yes.
That they would be open and honest with you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like you established a confidential relationship with them?
Yes.
In the sense that they would feel comfortable sharing things with you that they may not share with others?
Yes.
At what point did you stop having regular and consistent visits with Grace and Gemma?
With Gemma, it was 8/5/2024, and with Grace, it was a week later, 8/12/2024. They were getting ready to start school.
Did you have any concerns about the therapeutic relationship stopping at that time?
I think I was surprised because it was my impression that it was going to continue.
Okay. Did you feel like it was an urgent need that it continued?
No.
When did you meet with the girls again since this last meeting in August?
July 15th of 2025.
How did you come to have a meeting on July 15th of 2025?
I believe the father brought them, and they wanted to start therapy again.
Okay. What was your reaction to them coming back into your office?
I was pleased. It was nice to see them again.
Did you feel like they had any hesitancy to speaking with you or meeting with you?
No.
How would you classify the girls on a scale to maybe like dysregulated to average and consistent teenagers?
Gemma is an average and consistent teenager. In fact, I told her mother I did not think that she necessarily needed to continue therapy for any particular reason. I think Grace could use somebody to talk to confidentially, and as she's has more concerns.
And concerns about what in particular?
Oh, family.
Family dynamics?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Ms. Locke, I don't want to go beyond their expressing their wishes with regard to school and adjustment of parenting time, just because you have established they have a confidential relationship and I don't mind general questions, but I don't want to get into get far afield into things that they're expressing to her as part of their therapeutic counseling.
Understood, Your Honor. So, Ms. Geist, you felt like Gemma is well adjusted. Grace could maybe use someone to speak to ongoing.
Yes, she's well adjusted as well, but I just think that she could use somebody to talk to.
A neutral outlet.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you met with them on the 15th, and then what was the plan for follow-up after the 15th?
I assumed that I would be seeing them every other week, every 2 weeks then after that. And then I saw them again on the 31st.
Okay.
Only for 30 minutes each, both times.
Okay. On the 31st, was there a discussion about school?
Yes. The mother told me that there was going to they were going to go back to court, that there was something going on with wanting to change schools, and she wanted the girls to have a voice, to have a say in what they wanted. And so that's what we did. I just asked them what they wanted.
And in your meeting on the 15th, July 15th, had you had a conversation with Dad about the court's directive that the girls meet with you about school?
No, I do not believe so.
Okay. You drafted a letter which has been submitted to the court that's dated July 31st. When did you draft that letter?
The same day I sent it.
So you met with the girls on the 31st, you drafted the letter, and then you sent the letter.
I believe so.
Okay. In your meeting on July 31st, when you just discussed school, did you feel like the girls were open with you?
Yes.
Did you feel like they had been coached in any way?
No.
In working with kids for a significant amount of time in your prior profession and in this profession, have you learned to get a sense of when kids have been coached or told what to say by an adult?
Yes, sometimes it's very clear.
Okay. But you didn't get the impression here.
No.
Okay. Can you just give us a recap of what you drafted in your letter about Grace's feelings about school?
Basically, Grace wanted to stay in El Dorado. Part of her reasoning was she had been going there. She had friends there. She felt like there were more opportunities with sports and club activities and out of school activities. She is also in the gifted program and felt like she had more academic opportunities there. And she said the downside of Remington is that it is a smaller school, and she wants to meet more new people. She would miss her friends that she had made in El Dorado, in the El Dorado school system. She said that she would be really upset if she had to go to Remington, but she did say that it would not be the end of the world.
Did she raise any concerns about being bullied in El Dorado schools?
Nope.
Did she raise any concerns about her physical or mental health in El Dorado schools?
No.
Can you recap Gemma's? So did you meet with the girls separately?
Yes.
Okay. Can you recap your conversation or your impressions about Gemma's desires on school?
Yes. She said she also wanted to go to school in El Dorado. She said she hadn't gone to the Remington schools for a long time, and it was hard starting over again. She has friends in El Dorado. She didn't think that Remington had volleyball, which was what she wanted to do in the school year. She was also already enrolled in El Dorado and had her school, had her schedule and for the whole school year. She likes it. She is in honors English, and she said she did not think that she could do that in Remington. She said she would be disappointed if she had to go to Remington, but not as much as her sister. She said she looks at things differently than her sister does and could go either direction if she had to, but her preference would be to go to El Dorado.
Did Gemma express any concerns about bullying?
No,
Did she express any concerns about her physical or mental health in El Dorado schools?
no.
Based on your professional experience, what would the potential impact be if the girls went to two different schools?
Your Honor, this is going beyond the scope of this, what the purpose of bringing this witness here today was for. She was not asked to come in and offer opinions on whether or not it would be psychologically have any impact. She was here to come and report what the children told her about their preferences.
Well, I guess the first question you might want to ask is, did she even visit with them about the possibility of them splitting up and going to different schools?
I'm happy to ask that, Your Honor. Ms. Geist, was a topic approached about the girls potentially going to different schools?
No,
Did you have any concerns based on your conversations with Grace and Gemma about them maintaining the El Dorado School District?
no.
Do you feel like your report that you submitted speaks for itself?
Yes,
Is it a true and accurate reflection of your conversations with the girls from July 31st?
yes,
Your Honor, we would ask that Ms. Geist's letter be admitted.
As
It can be admitted as our Exhibit 14.
okay. Any objection, Ms. Huntington?
No objection, Your Honor. Someone else is unmuting me. I'm just a pause there. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Petitioner or plaintiff's exhibit 14 will be admitted.
I don't have any additional questions for this witness, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms.
All right.
Geist.
Thank you. Ms. Huntington, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Geis. Thank you for being here. You were asked by the court to speak with Grace and Gemma about their preferences in a school district, correct?
yes,
And your role was to inform them about the possible school change and gather their preferences, not to make a recommendation about what was in their best interest, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. The court provided no direction to Ms. Geist. So it's misstating the evidence.
Okay. Well, I think the report speaks for itself, and there is no recommendation made by her. But I'll let her answer the question.
could you repeat the question, please?
She doesn't know what my directive is. You can ask her if she has an opinion on what's in the children's best interest, independent of knowing them and having discussed this issue with them. But she has no idea what, I don't think, her directive was, absent somebody drafting a very specific order, and I don't recall that.
Let me ask it a different way. Were you
Okay.
asked to provide a recommendation on what would be in the children's best interest?
No, I was not asked that.
And you were not asked to do any educational or psychological evaluation of either school, any thing of that nature,
No.
correct?
No,
Do you recall who contacted you initially to schedule the appointment?
Which appointment?
The first contact. Who made first contact?
In 2024,
No,
no,
not in 24. I'm talking about here more recently in July of
I
25.
believe the father did. I believe their father did.
And isn't it true that Dad had informed you at that time that the court was asking for you to meet with the girls and determine their preference on schools?
I do not recall that.
If you have records in your office to support that, would you have any reason to deny its accuracy?
No, I would not have any reason to deny it.
Do you know why there were two sessions scheduled, one on the 15th and the second one on the 31st of July?
Our office, when we schedule clients, sometimes our office automatically schedules them out. Does that make sense? And right now, they usually schedule out for every 2 weeks. So my assumption was that that was what was going on.
Okay. And so did you know when you went into the first session with the girls that the court had requested that you talk to them about their preferences on schools?
No, I do not recall that at all.
And again, if your records indicate that you were aware, your office was aware, you would have no reason to deny that, correct?
Correct. And yeah, correct.
You made some statements earlier about the fact that these were 30-minute sessions rather than your normal 1 hour.
Yes.
Would you agree that 30 minutes is a relatively short time to meaningfully explore the child's views on school?
Specifically on school, is that a relatively, for the purposes of them telling me what they wanted and what this was for, 30 minutes was adequate. If I was, yeah.
After meeting with the children, you prepared a letter summarizing their reported preferences, correct?
Yes.
And you sent that to Mom only. Can you tell
Yes.
us why you did that?
Mom was the one who requested it.
Dad didn't request it?
No, Mom brought them to that meeting and Mom requested it in person.
Did you think later about whether Dad should have received a copy?
Yes.
And did you reach out to him?
No, all of this happened pretty quickly. And no, I did not.
Okay. The report that you produced or prepared, is that based on your discussions with the children in the first session or only the second?
The second.
So there'd be no inclusion of statements the girls may have made in their first session with you, correct?
Correct.
Can you walk us through briefly on how you broached the subject of school preference?
I was pretty direct. I said that I was under that the court wanted to know their preference, wanted to know what they thought, and that this was to give them a voice in the proceedings.
Did you indicate to them which parent wanted which school district?
No. No, I don't think I did.
Okay. Did you tell I'm sorry, did either of the children seem surprised by your question?
Not necessarily.
Did the fact that they were seemingly prepared for the question mean anything to you?
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates what Ms. Geist just said.
Well, I'm gonna sustain, unless you, I mean, that's assuming facts not into evidence at this point, unless you established with her that they were well prepared. She believed they were not necessarily surprised by their discussion, but I don't know that equates to that they were quite prepared for it. I mean, you can ask her, did they have notes and did they look at their, I mean, you can ask her questions to establish that, but I think at this point it assumes facts not into evidence. So sustain.
You just answered that they didn't seem surprised by the question, correct?
Correct.
Did that mean anything to you in the context of children being told for the first time, there's a consideration of changing schools, to not be surprised by that? Did that have any relevance to you?
Could you rephrase that, please?
Yeah, it was probably a bad question. Do you believe telling children for the first time that you're asking them to select between two schools would be kind of a surprising thing for a child to hear?
Yes, it would.
Okay. In your experience, would it be common for a child to associate a change in schools with a change in custody without being told that by someone?
I don't know that I can answer that's how a child assumes. Children are unique and individuals, and some assume one thing and some assume another. That's assumptions is not what I can talk to.
Did you ever ask the children whether they had already discussed the issue of schools with anyone?
No.
You and I spoke a couple of times yesterday, correct?
Yes.
And we kind of walked through your report. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And on reflection and reviewing your report, do you agree that there was some comments made by the girls that seemed to indicate there had been discussion prior to meeting with you?
Yes.
And I'll get more into those in detail in a moment, but did you have time to explore why Grace would make a statement that she doesn't want to move away from El Dorado?
Could you ask that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, in your report, you say, Grace, she said she does not want to move away from El Dorado. Did you talk with her at any length or have any discussion about why she would talk about moving from El Dorado?
That was in the context. I do not believe that was in the context of her physically moving, but it could have been. For me, it was she does not want to move away from El Dorado to go to a different school.
Did you have time to explore why Grace would have said she would not be as disappointed as her sister to change schools?
No, it's the other way around. Gemma said it.
I'm sorry, did you explore that with Gemma?
No.
Okay. Is that one of the things that you and I talked about that would seem to indicate there'd been some discussion between the girls or with someone about
Yes.
their preference?
With the girls, yeah. So with some, it seemed that it was not. Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that the court had ordered that neither parent talk to the children about school preference and to leave that up to you?
No.
I think you indicated earlier that you were not well, no, I don't think you said it in that context. Are you aware that Gemma had reported experiencing bullying while attending El Dorado schools?
No.
were you aware that Gemma's grades had dropped in different quarters throughout the 24-25 school year while attending El Dorado?
Objection, Your Honor, assumes facts not in evidence.
She's kind of posing it as, well, why don't you ask the question if it were true in a hypothetical context, counsel?
Okay, all right. So if the transcript for Gemma would indicate that her grades had dropped some period of time in the 24-25 school year, you would not be aware of those facts, correct?
Correct.
If it's true that Gemma had experienced bullying in the El Dorado School District, would that raise any concern for you that her preference to go to El Dorado may have been influenced by some outside source, whether it was emotional pressure, fear of change, or a desire to please a parent?
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object now on the same basis that Ms. Huntington previously object. We're getting into items and issues that were not the directive of the court as far as the conversation with the therapist. We're getting into things that Ms. Geist has already said she was not aware of. And the court has already stated that the letter she submitted speaks for itself.
Okay, I'm just gonna overrule. I'm going to let her answer with regard to bullying. You may want to restate your question, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Overruled. The objection's overruled.
If it's true that Gemma was experiencing bullying at times during her attendance in El Dorado, does that cause you any pause or raise any concern for you that her preference for school district in light of those events happening may have been pressure or fear of change or a desire to please a parent rather than her true preferences?
That is really beyond the scope. What I would want to talk to her specifically about that issue. Because I have no, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, that's fair. Grace expressed the belief that El Dorado offered more academic and extracurricular opportunities, correct?
Yes.
Do you know, did she explain or extrapolate on where she got that information or where that belief came from?
She kind of knew both schools. They have cousins in both schools. And she may have talked to, and I did not put that in the report, that she may have gotten that information from a cousin, but she did not know. She did not know that for sure. She was just thinking that might be the case.
Okay. And we established earlier that you met with the girls twice, right? Once on July 15th and then again on July 31st.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
After the first session, Dad was the one that brought the girls to that, correct?
Dad brought the girls to the first session. Yes.
All right. And I'll tell you that after that session, the girls got in the car with Dad and they made a statement that you had asked them about.
Objection, Your Honor, this is a hearsay, and something that Ms. Geist could not possibly know.
Okay.
She will know it. It's a.
All right. Listen. Again, that needs to be posed. If you want to ask it as a hypothetical question, you may, but you can't give her facts that she's not aware of and introduce facts that haven't been introduced into the case to ask her a question. If you want to ask her a hypothetical question, I will allow it. And if during the course of this case that evidence pans out, then I'll consider it. If that hypothetical does not pan out, then I'm going to disregard it.
Okay, I'll frame it that way, Your Honor. Hypothetically speaking, if after the first session, Grace got in the car with her father and offered that you asked her what she feared or scared most about going back to school, and told her dad that she was afraid, told you that she was afraid of going to the bigger school. Do you recall that conversation?
I believe she said she was a little anxious about moving to a different school. She's going to be a ninth grader in a new school, and that she was a little anxious about that.
But you didn't mention that in your report, correct?
In
Your report that you provided to the court?
that was the first meeting that I had with them since I hadn't met with them for about 11 months. That was the first meeting I had with them. We were catching up. We were doing things, talking about what the past month was like, year was like. And that was not in my report about the 31st.
Do you agree that it's relevant to preferences and how they're feeling about school?
Every freshman is nervous about going to high school.
That's not answering my question, though.
Okay, ask your question again.
Do you think that the statements that Grace made would be
Your Honor,
relevant to?
objection, now we're talking about affirmative things that are not in evidence.
Well, she has admitted that there was a discussion about that she was anxious about going to a bigger new school. And she
High school.
testified that she believed that meant transitioning from middle school to high school. So that has been her answer. And now the question posed to her is, did she think that discussion from the 15th should have been pertinent as to her letter from the 31st? So overrule. You may answer that question.
No,
Why not?
because of what I previously said, that's a natural thing to be nervous about starting school.
So you made the decision that that was not relevant to put in the report about the children's preferences.
The report about the children's preferences was all based on the July 31st.
Why would you limit it to July 31st if you had additional information from the children about how they felt about school?
That was not a question or a point that I thought about that was relevant.
In retrospect, do you think it should have been included in the report?
No.
Hypothetically speaking, after that first session, if Gemma got into the car and mentioned to the father, if you asked her if she was excited to return to school, and she told her dad that she was not. She told you she was not excited to return to school. Do you have any reason, or would you agree that that occurred?
True, that is correct.
Okay. And we don't have to go through all of the questions I asked before about the other statement from the first session, but Gemma's statement about not wanting to return to school, that was not included in your report either, was it?
Nope, it was not.
Would you agree that a statement from a child of lack of excitement to return to school could be relevant to the issue of school placement?
I think it could be relevant to other issues as well as school placement. But that was not what I was asked, and that was not what, that was not in the context of a new school when we talked about that.
Your Honor, can I have 1 second to
Sure.
mute and talk to my client?
Sure.
I just have a couple more questions. You mentioned that you felt like Grace could benefit from ongoing therapy, correct?
Yes,
Related to anxiety. Is that accurate?
I said related to having somebody, a neutral party, someone said, to talk to. I think that she could benefit from that.
Okay, do you get a sense that Grace struggles with anxiety?
Maybe a little bit. Yes, maybe a little bit of anxiety, some adjustment. Yes.
Okay. Do you see any inconsistency between Grace telling you, I fear going to this bigger school, with what's in your report that she says later about she's excited and she wants to go and meet new people?
Could you ask that again?
Do you see any inconsistency in Grace's statements from one session with her to the second session with her? The first, she tells you, I'm scared of going to this bigger school. Then she comes back 2 weeks later, she doesn't talk about that fear, but tells you, I'm excited for this transition and I want to make these new friends. Do you see any consistency?
I don't believe she ever said anything about fearing going to school. I think she said she was anxious about going to school, a new school. The only thing I saw there was, yes, students are anxious starting a new school year, especially when they transition from one building to another building. That's as far as to me, that was a normal thing for her to be a little anxious about.
Ms. Geist, though, that was not my question, and that
Okay.
was not what I was asking you. Do you
Okay.
see any inconsistency with a child coming to you?
Not necessarily, no.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any redirect, Ms. Law?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Geist, what is your impression of the relationship between Gemma and Grace? Are they close as sisters, or they don't speak to each other?
They seem to be pretty close.
In your experience with teenagers and siblings, do kids talk to each other outside of earshot of their parents?
Yes,
Do they talk about things they might not talk about with their parents?
yes,
In your experience working with teenagers, are they intuitive?
yes,
Can they sense when things are changing or there's different dynamics without ever having that addressed with them by adults?
yes,
Is it possible that a child whose parents that they have equal parenting time with are going back to court about an issue, that a child would understand and feel that even though it was never discussed with them?
yes,
And would it be reasonable for a child around a time that school's about to start to have some anxiety that maybe the going back to court involves school?
that's kind of a jump.
Okay. Is it possible that they would have some stress about school?
Sure,
And
yes,
that they would be talking to each other about going back to school?
yes,
Okay. That they might talk to each other about what schools they want to go to or wish they could go to?
yes.
Okay. And then is it possible that a child that's returning to school and is having a conversation during summer vacation would not be excited to start school again?
Yes,
That they wish summer could go on forever?
yes,
Based on Miss Huntington's hypotheticals that were then admitted as conversations that occurred during your therapy, and I believe the statement was, if they talk to dad about these things in the car on the way home, do you get the impression that your July 15th conversations about therapy were then discussed with dad?
it sounds like it.
Okay, and to your knowledge, would mom have been present for those discussions?
Probably not.
And are you aware of the nature or how much was discussed with the girls at that time?
Not at all.
Okay.
No,
And I believe you said you felt like the children had not been coached prior to your July 31st session.
mm-hmm.
Is
Yes,
that okay? No additional questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Geist, if you hadn't seen the girls for a year, when you saw them on the 15th, if anything that had been said was significant enough that you believe it related to their desire to change schools or make some kind of modification, would you have noted it if you thought it was relevant and significant enough in this July 31st letter, reference that July 15th meeting?
yes.
Okay. Ms. Huntington, anything further? Any recross?
Yeah, just a couple of questions.
Okay.
Ms. Geist, you indicated, or you testified earlier that, and you reaffirmed it here just with opposing counsel, that you didn't feel that the children were coached in any way, correct?
Correct.
And what do you base that on?
They were very natural and spoke freely to me, and it wasn't just point. We were talking about lots of things that they were thinking about regarding this.
But you would agree that, and we've established, they did not appear surprised, correct?
Your Honor, outside the scope of
right.
redirect.
Overruled.
Correct.
And statements that they made when they met with you would seem to indicate they did have prior conversations with someone about the school change, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Well,
Your Honor, she already acknowledged that it would have seemed that they talked to someone about it, they knew about it.
That's incorrect. She said she acknowledged that they were not surprised by the question.
that was her response. So
Yes,
I will
but
sustain
then,
to the form of the question. You
all
may
right.
ask your question.
I believe that you admitted or agreed earlier in your testimony when I was asking you questions that the comments about she would not be as upset as her sister seemed to indicate they'd had a discussion about this topic, correct?
It seemed to indicate that she knew what her sister was thinking. Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Any reason for further direct examination, Ms. Locke?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Geist, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And you are free to go.
Thank you.
All right, counsel. Will be
Your Honor, I do want to take up one thing on the record if we can before
All right.
we release.
All right.
Based on this morning, it appears to the petitioner that we are going to have to prove that the children should stay in El Dorado schools. But that is, from our perspective, not correct. That this is the respondent's motion, and it is his obligation and his burden to show that there has been a material change in circumstances that would warrant a school change. And so from our perspective, it is not our job to show that the kids should stay in El Dorado schools, but in fact, that is the status quo and the baseline. And so I was going to seek some clarification from the court on this afternoon, whether or not we need to be prepared to go first with our witnesses, or if the movement will in fact have the burden.
Well, the movement should have the burden to prove up their motion. Ms. Huntington, do you disagree?
I do not disagree. And Your Honor, you indicated at the last hearing that the standard is what's in the best interest of the children. Now we're back to a material change in circumstance. That is not the burden that we have, but we are fully prepared to show that it is in the best interest of the children to change schools, and we will go first. This witness was a little different because I didn't want to call the witness. So I allowed her to go first this morning, but we don't intend to do that later today.
Yeah, this was kind of a witness for the benefit of the court so that the court didn't have to interview or involve the children in the proceedings, which is generally my first preference, especially if there is an existing therapist that has some kind of rapport or pre-existing relationship that can note things about the girls based on experience. So yeah, I think I don't think that the burden is upon you to prove that they should stay. The burden is upon them to prove that it's in the best interest for them to go to Remington as opposed to El Dorado. And I don't think that's going to change between now and 1 o'clock. So,
Your Honor, may I add one additional thing? There's been a lot of discussion about a change in custody or a change in parenting time. There is no motion before the court on that issue. The parties have shared residential custody. They would maintain shared residential custody under the change from one school district to the other.
okay, well, that may have been my mischaracterization, and I apologize. And I do, when I looked at this, I thought, well, maybe I projected that, but you didn't specifically ask for it. But I did see where I think in his affidavit that the respondent requests that the parenting plan be modified. So I guess I didn't exclude the fact that if there are changes in school times, school activities, I don't know, that there might be some request to modify the parenting time. But if that's absolutely not on the table at all, then I will acknowledge that that's not an issue before the court.
I apologize if something we said previously led the court down that path. I think the request to modify the parenting plan was because in the plan, it said they would attend El Dorado School District.
Okay. So thank you for correcting me in that regard to keep focused here on what the issue is. All right. So we'll see everyone at 1 o'clock at the courthouse. Anything else that we need to take up before then?
I just have one question. There's one exhibit in respondents or petitioner's notebook, and it's a letter from an individual. It's exhibit 9, letter from Janine Pippig, which I understand is some secondary family member. I would object to that letter being introduced unless that person is going to testify today.
Your Honor, from our perspective, that objection is premature. The basis for the letter and the way in which it would come in is a foundational issue, and we would be obligated to lay the foundation. Ms. Huntington is not asked to stipulate to any exhibits. She has several exhibits that cannot come in without significant foundation. And it's clear that we are going to have evidentiary issues because the therapist letter that the court requested could not come in without Ms. Geist being here today. So I would ask that question be reserved for trial and whether or not we can lay the foundation for the exhibit, and that all evidentiary issues are taken up at 1 o'clock today.
Okay. Well, we'll deal with them as we broach them, but I would ask that the two of you have some kind of quick discussion today before 1 o'clock as to any exhibits that you can stipulate to, so that we can move through the hearing as expediently as possible.